Nå er det 10 minutter til første kvartfinale. Det er 5 minutter til vi stenger løypa. 10 minutes to the first quarterfinals. We will close the track in 5 minutes. and we have just 5 minutes. It's a little more snow in the air now, so let's see if that will have any impact on the conditions now for the rest of the sprints. We are soon ready. We'll start with the ladies. And as usual, we do have 5 quarterfinals with 6 athletes in each. The 2 best will qualify, and the 2 best so-called lucky losers, the 2 best times, are not directly qualified. The athletes are now wearing the start number referring to the place they had in the qualification, meaning that the winner has number 1 and so on up to number 30. And there is not possible to skate on the first 20 meters, 22 meters from the start. That is marked on the snow. 3 minutes and 20 now, 40 to the first heat. Så vanligvis så har vi en kvartfinal idag med 6 löpare innvärd. De 2 bästa går vidare automatiskt till semifinalen, och så är det såklart lucky losers. De 2 bästa som inte är de 2 bästa. Det är det här stänger 20 minuter starting ut från start, så här kan det ske. Och nu har jag starten idag, samtidigt var klassiken vi hade i prologen, det vill säga att den som var på första rundan måste vidare och då har det varit 3 minuter knappt igen, och då kommer det komma in mot start alldeles strax. Less than 3 minutes now to the start of the first heat.
Couple of minutes. It's not been easy for the organisers. This snowfall has been going on for just under 3 hours now, and that certainly could upset things, slow things down a little, makes it a little bit harder for those on the timers, and certainly makes it harder for the technicians. Canadians are here in good numbers. And certainly Canada excited about the men's event. They got the fastest qualifier this morning. Finn Redmond looking really good, just 19 years old and a promising athlete. Good to see some kids coming up to watch these events. It's never quite like certainly not like the Olympic Games in terms of fans that turn up to watch. But it's such an important part of the sport. There you see the start list for heat number 1. Drivenes, absolutely outstanding in the qualifying this morning. She won by a decent margin, and she was, what, 3.93 clear of Heidi Bucher, who's a really talented Austrian. She'll be going a little bit later on. Sand Hansen of Norway, certainly not scared. She's decided to go in this in the second group. So Drivenes, Nissen of Sweden. We've got Dalka of Germany, Duska of Czechia. Now she's pretty handy, wearing bib number 20. That's Tove Nordgren wearing 21 for Sweden. She's got her teammate Malva Nissen in this heat as well. And there's the outstanding favourite, Drivenes. And Drivenes has been putting in some excellent races so far this year. Certainly expecting to see her come through. She won the sprint in Austin not long ago. Nissen number 10, number 11, that's Luisa Dalka of Germany. And then on the near side, Katarina Duskova of Czechia. 30, the slowest of the qualifiers, Mary Schwitzer of Italy. She'll be doing well to go through. Now, if you've not watched a cross-country sprint before, you'll not be aware that only 2 go through from this heat, but they do include 2 lucky losers to go through to the semi-finals as well. although there are 5 heats, it's called the quarterfinals, and so getting a top 2 pretty essential at this stage, and especially with all the fresh snow that's fallen, it's going to be particularly hard for this first loop. The first 50 metres or so in the tracks, and then they're free to skate their hearts out as they set off on this 1,300 metre course. Winning time in qualifying was 3:02. Generally, the first couple of heats do not match the qualifying time. It's all about conservation of energy now, and Drivenes dictating the pace out front, wearing bib number 1. Well, that's a bit of a burst coming in from 21, which is Tove Norgren of Sweden. I think she's probably been inspired by what she's seen on the World Cup recently. This weekend was all about the World Cup in Falun in Sweden, and of course Linn Svan coming through to win there in style ahead of Skistad and Norway. Some of the best racing we've seen this season. Slightly disappointed with the crowd numbers, certainly in the stadium in Falun. The 2 Swedes getting in the way of each other. Nissen certainly won't be thanked by Tove Norgren at the end of this one. Tripping the youngster up. Drivenes just saving energy, I think. Drivenes wearing bib number 1. Number 10 leading, that's Malva Nissen of Sweden. And sitting in 3rd place at the moment is Duskova of Czechia. I was impressed by her performance in the qualifying, so keep an eye on her in that dark suit. And Norway, as always, and it's nice to see the Norwegian juniors with exactly the same suit as their senior team members. So it's a big day when you get your Norwegian colours. And generally, it means you're in the top 10 in the world. They are so dominant. Another clean sweep for the Norwegians in the skiathlon in Falun this weekend. Round they come. Quite difficult to get a hang of this course, the Olympic course from 1994. And Drivenes, just when it's needed, goes to the front. Very, very proficient on the skis. Looks so relaxed, leading the way at the moment. No one really dropped off the pace. Schwitzer of Italy at the back as we speak. And Nissen is still going for Sweden. Norgren, who was tripped up earlier on, really hasn't recovered from that little incident. And now a burst of speed coming in from Nissen wearing 10 in 2nd place. Germany's Luisa Dalka has got to do something pretty sharpish if she wants to go up into the top 2, but Drivenes is away and just confirming her domination that we saw in that qualifying run. She produced a 3:02. The next best was 3:05.94 from Heidi Bucher. So she is in a class of her own, and looking as though she's going to wrap this one up fairly easily. Yeah, it's been an impressive season from Drivenes. Won the sprint in Trondheim on the 3rd of January. Looked good there. 5th in the junior championships last year, but she's come a long way since then. So Drivenes takes it. Duskova in 2. Those are the 2 automatic qualifying places. And Nissen and Dalka of Sweden and Germany. We'll have to wait and see whether they have done enough. But is anyone going to touch this young lady today? I think it's unlikely. She, yeah. Yeah, it's just a process for her. She knows exactly what to do. And with the amount of racing she's done, she's very, very experienced. And I don't think it will be long before we see her in the senior team challenging the likes of Skistad, who's been the #1 sprinter in Norway over the last, what? I was going to say 3 or 4 years, but it's probably a little bit longer than that, since the World Championships in Seefeld when she first came to our notice. Well, it snows and it snows and it snows. This is the sort of weather conditions you wake up in the morning and your car has disappeared. Quite capable of dropping 1.5 meters a night. And the forecast is for more snow. The championship's going on all week, all the way through to next Sunday, as we wait for the second lineup.
Winning time for Isolivia Victorina 3:14.97. This is heat number 2 lining up now on the start.
So there you see the lineup for Heat 2. Agatha Margarita, the favourite to take this. She did a 3:11, so she was 9 seconds down on the fastest, but she is the fastest qualifier here. Sands Hansen in this heat as well, a 3:12, so fairly evenly matched with Margarita. And we've got Gerda Chivel of Estonia. Yeah, interested to see what she can do. 19-year-old, as most of them 19, some of them 18. Got one 16-year-old in the event, Jäättinen of Finland, and haven't seen which heat she goes in. I'm assuming, yes, she did qualify. She's finished 8th in qualifying, actually, Jäättinen, and she will be going in heat number 5. I think deciding that a place in the semis is a good achievement for her. Number 7 there on your screen, that's Julie Sand Hansen. Should be competitive in this event. And then Kivel of Estonia, 4th in the national championships, and away they go, trying to match that time. Winning time on that first heat was 3:14.97, so that was some 12 seconds slower than the fastest qualifying time earlier today, but it has snowed a lot, and I think that first heat was always going to be the slowest. Now that a few skis have been over the course, makes it a little bit easier. 3:14 is quite a long sprint, to be honest, at this level. Always felt that the sprints could benefit from being just a couple of 100 meters shorter, maybe a bit more variety, but maybe a little bit shorter. The Olympic Games, what was that, 3:40 down in the Tempra Stadium down in Val di Fiemme for the Olympic Games, and it was a very, very tough course. It really suited those sprinters who are also pretty good at the endurance races, and the Swedes coming through with flying colours there, getting a clean sweep. A little bit of obstruction there, Olivia Purinen of Finland, just needing to be a little bit more dominant when skiers come past you skating. Generally, it's your ski that goes underneath, and you come to a grinding halt. So, 2 Norwegians in this event. Number 7 is Sands Hansen, and leading the way at the moment is Veronica Schüler, another Norwegian, 27th in qualifying. So she's making a bold statement at the moment, going out front, but that will certainly be a help to Julie Sand Hansen. Now, the other bib number you're looking for is number 4, Agatha Margarita from France, comes from the Haute-Jura, beautiful area for cross-country skiing and, of course, ski mountaineering as well. Just trying to pick out the French colours. Margarita wearing 4, and just on the far side, starting to make a move now as we come into the last minute of this race. They've just about got 60 seconds to go, and Agatha Margarita showing us why she was the quickest of the qualifiers. In fact, the 2 fastest, 1 and 2 at the moment. 17 behind them is Annette Coupard of France. I think she'll be happy with the way things are going at the moment. Only 20 years old, showed really good form in Czechia, racing earlier this year. Finished 3rd in a sprint event behind Duskova on that occasion. We saw Duskova in the first of the quarterfinals here. So lucky losers at the moment, Nielsen and Dalker. That time of 3:17.17 needs to be beaten if they want to go through. They've got just over 17 seconds to achieve that, and it looks as though we could have 3 tight finishes here. Are they going to beat the time of the first heat? 3:14.97 recorded by Drivenis, 3:15.28 from Duskova in that first heat, and it's going to be very tight indeed. In fact, they're a little bit quicker than Duskova, and Coupard of France is into the lucky loser positions, and that pushes Dalker of Germany out of the competition. So well done to Dalker. She benefited from having Sands Hansen and Margarita pushing hard up front, and we'll have to wait and see what she has got to leave. So 2 French women in the qualifying at the moment. Malva Nielsen survives with a 3:15.83, but Cooper with a 3:14.8 is the fastest of the 2 lucky losers at the moment. So Drivenis Duskova, Sands Hansen, Margreiter are guaranteed a place in the first of the semi-finals. And it's significant because those who go in the first semi-final and then get through to the final have an extra 5 minutes or so of rest. Sometimes works out a little bit longer than that. But anyone who's done interval sessions know the longer you rest, the better you feel on the next one. So it does make a massive difference, and which is why the favourites generally opt for heat number 1. But once the fastest qualifier goes in a heat, everyone else shies away from it. Makes sense. There are those who feel that getting into the top 12 is a major achievement, and they may just select the group that has the slowest skiers in it to give them every chance of achieving that. Heat number 3, that's pretty stacked. We've got Skar of Norway wearing 5, who qualified in a time of 3:11, pretty much the same as we saw from Margreiter. And then we've got Ruby Saruya of Canada. Now, a lot of these names will be new to you. A lot of them are new to me, so if I get the pronunciations just a little bit off, do forgive me. Feel free to send in any variations. And I'm sure a lot of these ladies are going to be on the World Cup tour, if not next year, probably in the next 2 or 3 years. Cross-country skiing, generally, you don't hit your best form until 23, 24. You get the odd exception like Johannes Husvik-Klæbo, but generally 23, 24, all the way through to 30. So Skar of Norway, Saruya of Canada, Skatula of Ukraine. We've got Louison Dubiff of Canada also, Matilda Gran of Sweden, and Anushka Neville of France in bib number 26. 25 nearest the camera, that's Matilda Gran of Sweden. But Aline Skar, I think probably the one we need to keep an eye out for in this race. Another 19-year-old, comes from Nittedal, which is on the outskirts of Norway, just between Holmenkollen and Jessheim. Generally get decent snow. It's not guaranteed, as it is if you come up to Lillehammer and ski up at Nordsetter. Generally good snow conditions through to mid-April, to be honest. So this is heat 3, and a steady start. Certainly the track quicker for that second heat. And oh, wow, that's a bad move and a little bit unlucky. I think that might have been, was that Dubiff of Canada? No, not sure it was. The two Canadians are still there. Just trying to pick out the bib number. Is it Neville? Well, yeah, she's got a broken pole. It is Neville of France, who was the slowest of the qualifiers, and that fall will not have helped. Good work from the assistants, and that was a French coach providing the spare stick, which probably means it's pretty much the right length. Everyone very particular about the length of the poles. Yeah, I think that probably takes Neville out of a qualifying slot. Yeah, unlucky at this stage. Number 5, Aline Skar, is looking super cool in the red Norwegian colours, alongside her.
How much did that cost? That's the question. The back end, number 15, the Ukrainian Skatula. As they come down the hill. And
25 is Matilda Gran.
The brother is 196, Anton Gran.
Yeah, Anton Gran just being mentioned over the tannoy. Man who we've seen on the World Cup. He's a big man, 196. What's that? 6'4", quite handy when it comes to sprinting. The Swedish men not having a good season Swedish women, by contrast, totally dominant in the sprint events, and with Ebba Andersson and Frida Karlsson both going great guns, they have been taking the haul. Incidentally, if you missed out on the Olympic Games this year, I'm sure you didn't, but if you did, Sweden and Norway sharing all 12 gold medals from the Olympic Games, and Norway getting 7, and Sweden pulling in 5 with Andersson and Karlsson, and the team sprints as well. And don't forget Lynn Svan, who got the Olympic gold for the sprint event. So they've got a standard to live up to. And at the moment, Sweden's Gran is struggling a little bit to stay with the pace. The Norwegians going well. Eileen Skår, who was the quickest of the qualifiers, just pulling away. She doesn't look to have broken into a sweat at any stage of this race. It's Canada's Sarah Oya in bib number 6 coming through in 2nd place. Keep an eye on the clock, 3:22. It's very slow. That was a cruise for Skår, and I suspect Soroya was very comfortable as well. So no lucky losers from that group. So Neeson and Cooper stay as 1 and 2 in the lucky loser slot, and Skår and Soroya, the 2 favourites, going through to semi-final. Skår will go semi-final number 1, Soroya will go semi-final number 2, and right at the back of the pack for Ukraine is Sofia Skatala. Not sure, did I miss her taking a tumble? Quite possible. There's quite a lot of soft snow. If you get round the edge of the course, instead of being a couple of centimetres thick on top of the firm racing base, there's about 6-7 inches of powder. So catching a tip in that can put pay to your qualifying chances. 3:25.19, a whopping 10 seconds quicker. In fact, 11 seconds quicker than the fastest qualifying time so far. Skår, I think, will be delighted with that. She's just been on a training run. That can count as a warm-up for her semi-final. Fourth of 5 heats just about to get underway. Austria, Switzerland, Finland, France, Germany. 2 Germans, in fact, Sarah Hoffmann and Johanna Eckel are lined up for this one. Eckel, who's been racing in the Czech Republic, Czechia, as they now like it to be called. Number 19, Romain Napé from France. Alongside her, wearing 12, is Voutilainen of Finland. We've already seen Jantunen in action. And number 2, Heidi Bucher. And then the second fastest of the qualifiers, Nina Katieni of Switzerland. And Katieni comes from Samadan, so she will have been heavily involved, I would imagine, in the Engadin Marathon, and will have followed that over the years. And when you've got a big race locally, it does tend to provide inspiration and motivation when it comes to choosing what sort of sport you're going to do. Yeah, and being from Samadan, plenty of opportunity for training at altitude. Not that you need it for here in Lillehammer, under the 1,000 metre mark, so lack of oxygen not really an issue, certainly not compared to venues such as Antolz, where the Biathlon World Cup takes place up at around 1,700, and of course Beijing last year, the Winter Olympics last year, 4 years ago. Time flies. So setting the pace out front, number 2, Heidi Bucher from Absam Nordic Club, and a promising athlete for Austria. Stadlober has been the #1 for a long, long time, but she won't keep going forever, and Austria need someone to take her place in terms of challenging for World Cup podiums. And Heidi Bucher, they're in second place at the moment. So far, the only athlete that I've seen who actually competed at the Olympics in Val di Fiemme this year. She made the knockout phases, finished 29th in the sprint, and she raced in the 4x7.5. She raced in the team sprint as well, finishing in 10th place, an event won by the Swedes, unsurprisingly. Having got a clean sweep in the individual sprint, I guess that was fairly inevitable, but things can always go wrong. So, Romain Nappé of France at the moment is leading the way. Bucher looking relatively comfortable behind her in bib #2. Over on the right-hand side of your screen, little move coming in from Sarah Hoffmann of Germany. That might be her bid to go through as a qualifier, and now Nappé is having to push the pace, and still the Austrian happy to tuck in behind, get some assistance, allow someone to take the wind in front, and I think we'll see a little burst coming in from Heidi Bucher. Keep an eye on the clock too. The lucky losers at the moment, they've just vanished off my screen, having had them for a while. We're looking at a time of around 3:14. Coupard of France on a 3:14.81. Into the home straight now, and yeah, Heidi Bucher quite comfortable. It's not going to be particularly quick. Easy win, very tight for second place, and a photo finish, in fact, between Nappé and Katieni of Switzerland. Hoffmann missing out, and because it's not particularly quick, there will be only one of those in the photo finish you go through. So this is fairly key. Nappé given the initial benefit of the doubt, but Cantieni of Switzerland watching on, hoping that the jury saw it wrong initially. Cantieni is the athlete I was talking about from Samadan in Switzerland, national junior champion over 10K. She won the European Youth Olympic sprint in Georgia back in 25. That was last year. So, yeah, certainly a promising athlete. We'll see what she can do in the future. Have they given us a result? Yeah, I'm afraid it's gone the way of the French. So Nappé gets it. Katieni is third and doesn't go through to the semi-finals. Hoffmann, Voutilainen, Eckel all out of the contest. So only two qualifiers from heat #4, Bucher and Nappé, and then we're on to heat #5. No time wasted, and pretty much the moment this is finished, we'll be on to the first of the men's heats. 5 minutes in between. Timing pretty simple, but it doesn't allow for too many false starts. All protests happen after the race rather than delaying the competition itself. So there's Herta Rajas of Estonia. Ilaria Gruber, fastest qualifier from this heat. And she was pretty sharp, actually, 3:09, only 3 women beating 3:10 in qualifying. Jantunen of Finland, just 16 years old, won a 15K freestyle in Ulricehamn recently, so she's in pretty good shape. Don't rule her out just because she's only 16. Annalise Hanna for USA. Number 23 is Madeleine Wilkie of Canada, and then on the right-hand side, Niamh Gerard, again from the USA. So the North Americans well represented. They've all gone into the same heat. Part, of course, from Louison Dubief, who we saw earlier on. So Gruber, Jantunen, Rajas of Estonia, Hanna of USA alongside Gerard of USA, and then Madeleine Wilkie wearing 23. The red suit of Gruber, I think, is the one that we'll see dictate this race, and she's out front already. Now, most of the favourites have been happy to sit in second place until about 1,100 metres, and then just coming through to the front over the last couple of hundred. Well, there's a burst coming in from, that looks like Annie Juntunen. Yeah. Well, she's only 16, but she's got lots of guts. That's a tough pace that she has set. The Americans wanting something to do up the front. That's Annalise Hanna going through into third place, but it's Juntunen setting the target. She comes from Espoo, which is northeast, pretty much on the outskirts of Helsinki, northeast, not a million miles from Lahti. I imagine she does a fair amount of her training up there. But Helsinki, a bit like Stockholm, in a good winter, and this has been a good winter generally in most places. Lots of snow in the Alps, which has caused avalanche problems and a number of disasters, sadly. But there is plenty of snow around, and yeah, Lillehammer's done well. Well, that's a really impressive start from Juntunen. Ilaria Gruber is playing a crafty game, just happy to sit there in second place. She only needs to finish in the top two, and having seen how little that Aline Skår of Norway did in heat number 3, I think Gruber will be happy to record a time as long as she's under that, well, in second place, because I can't see this beating the lucky loser times. 3:15.83. That's the slowest lucky loser at the moment, Malva Neeson, who went early on. We've got Annette Coupard of France sitting in a lucky loser slot in 3:14.81. So they've got to get across the line in about 50 seconds if they want more than 2 qualifiers in this heat. Finland's Juntunen still going great guns, and having blown up the prospects of Ilaria Gruber, she's starting to look a little bit tired. Now, this is going to be interesting if she gets knocked out. Just trying to pick up the bib number of the athlete out in front, who has got very, very good ski speed indeed. Is it Rias or is it Hanna? Well, it is the Estonian athlete, Herta Rias, who's gone big and gone early. This is where Juntunen may pay a price for going so hard. She's fading now in the last 50 metres, and Switzerland's Ilaria Gruber does go through, but a 3:15.2 is just, I think it might be quick enough, and Juntunen certainly deserves a place in the semis. 3:15.2, she had to beat 3:15.8. She has done enough. Excellent work. Wilkie, Gerard and Hanna, the North American contingent, all failing to go through to the semi-finals, not living up to the standards set by Jess Diggins over the last 5 years or so. Jess Diggins, of course, in her last ever season, and will be looking forward to the end of the season, no doubt. So there you have the 3 qualifiers, and that is the last of the women's heats. And so hopefully we'll get confirmation of all the qualifiers, and no major surprises, in fact. No. Well, I can tell you that Drivenes Skår, San Hansen, Margrethe Duskova and Juntunen have gone through to semi-final number 1. Juntunen does not get much time to recover from her efforts in that first round. Booker, Rias, Gruber, Soroya, Nape and Coupard, the 2 French athletes, squeezing into heat number 2 for the semi-finals. Now we focus on the men's event. That was a quick look at the qualifying positions. I have to say, it took a while. We had already started broadcasting before the results came out of the qualifying. Not quite sure why it took so long, but we do have all the names for the 5 heats in the first round. Redmond, Pedersen, Vikblom, Tossavainen, Sarapuu and Rezak.
går, husker du det? Snakket om noe rør i går. Ja. Det ligger masse
So Alice Razak wearing 30, slowest of the qualifiers, found herself no choice but to go into group number 1. Those at the back of the pack choose last. Sarapu there for Estonia. Eddie Pedersen, the only Swede in this group. We've got Pedersen wearing 10. There's the fastest qualifier. Finn Redmond looked fantastic in his heat. And he skis for Telemark Nordic, which is just to the east, to the east of Vancouver. Must be 120, 150 kilometers or so. And then Kali Tossavainen for Finland, 20th in the qualifying. So once Redmond had put himself in Group 1, not many other athletes wanted to go up against him. So he should be the man who cruises through, and he goes off pretty sharpish with the Canadians with that red left leg. So we can pick out his. Redmond wearing 1. Eddie Pedersen in the Swedish colours over on the far side wearing 10. He was the second fastest qualifier in this heat, and he's starting to make a bid, trying to get past Tossavainen of Finland. 2 Finns in this heat. Vic Blum is there as well wearing 11, and it's Vic Blum who makes a move with the first 400 metres covered. Qualifying time in the men's was 2:39.41, was the quickest by Finn Redmond, and then compare that to the women's 3:02. So some, wow, 21 to 23 seconds quicker. But the women did go first, and they had a bit more fresh snow to plough through, so I think it would have been just a little bit tighter had the snow conditions been a little bit more even. Well, Finland going for a little bit of teamwork. Sitting in 3rd place at the moment is Eddie Pedersen of Sweden, and Finn Redmond of Canada, raced in the Junior World Championships last year, finished back in 20th place, and he also raced in the Junior Worlds in Planica, which was in 2024. So plenty of experience, the Canadian. And as we come into the second half of the run, we've got just about 50 seconds or so to go. Redmond starting to make his presence felt, coming up alongside the Finn, Melker Vikblom. That's a good effort from Vikblom, holding his own at the moment. Eddie Pedersen wearing bib number 10 is going well. So Sweden out front, Canada in 2, the 2 fastest qualifiers 1 and 2, the 2 Finns who were 1 and 2 now demoted to 3 and 4, and Eddie Pedersen doing some good work. Redmond just needs to make sure that no one's going to come and surprise him in the last 100 metres. Into the home straight now, Sweden leading with Vikblom. Finn Redmond of Canada just moving to his right-hand side. He's under a little bit of pressure from Melker Vikblom on the far side. This is going to be quite tight, but I think Redmond's got this under control. He does, and that's a very, very competitive heat indeed. 2:46.2, the fastest time. What's that? Some 7 seconds slower than Redmond did in the qualifying run. Over go the skis. They just need to be looked after. No waxing permitted nowadays. In the old days, the technicians had a hard time. But you've got to select a decent pair of skis throughout. Not so difficult with the freestyle. No grip wax to worry about. And generally, the weather forecasts nowadays are good enough to know exactly what's going to happen all the way through. So there's that's the result of heat number 1. 4 qualifiers at the moment. Vikblom, Sarapu of Finland and Estonia have to hope that 46 and 47 is quick enough to qualify. Not 100% confident that is going to be the case, simply because so many athletes beat that time in qualifying earlier on today. There's the lineup for heat number 2. Karnikar of Slovenia. Comes from, well, he skis for the Triglav ski club, who train up at Pokluka, Mount Triglav, one of the highest mountains in Slovenia, right up the northwest of the country, just a little bit south of Kranjska Gora, about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit more from Ljubljana. Beautiful area. So, Tage Björnsson of Sweden has just seen his teammate Eddie Pedersen qualify for the semi-finals. Federico Pozzi, not Federico Pellegrino, but Pozzi, I guess, named after the great champion himself, Marco Pinzani. Now, there's a great name for a sprinter as well. So Pinzani wearing 14. Lavio Müller of Switzerland, only 24th in qualifying. And then the slowest qualifier in this heat is Leopold Strand, who's wearing bib number 27. He's over on the far side. 24 is Lavio Müller in the Swiss colours. In this dead light, the Swiss and the Norwegian suits look very similar. But the Swiss is just a slightly brighter red. It's got a shade of orange in it. And yeah, when the sunlight's out, it's a bit more obvious. But you can see it as Müller comes towards us. Karnikar of Slovenia setting the pace. Oh, there's a loping style if ever I've seen one. Well, that's about as far from a sprint as you can get, but it's beautifully smooth. And Karnikar just dancing his way up that first incline and gets himself out front. Now, you've got to be, firstly, you've got to have beautiful technique to ski like that. But he's also got to be immensely strong, not overdoing things at the moment, but he's still out there in front. Is that going to be a technique that top skiers adopt in the future? I think he's really just trying to limit the effort going in at the same time as trying to control the pace on this race. With the limited cameras, there's not easy to. Well, let's take that as a marker. 136 around that left-hand turn, and we'll just be able to keep an eye on the heats that are still to come. This is heat 2 of 5, as we see a little bit of speed coming in, and this is Tage Björnsson of Sweden making a bid for glory, and that's looking pretty promising. The two Italians, Pozzi and Pinzani, in 2 and 3 at the moment, and Karnikar of Slovenia pushed a long way back. The Slovenian wearing bib number 4. Where's he gone? He looked very, very easy early on. I think that's him in. Is that him back into 5th place? He's in a spot of bother as they come into the home straight. 2:33 on the clock at the moment, and Karnikar, who was the fastest qualifier, is not going through to the semi-finals, and that is the first big surprise of the day. The win taken by Pozzi of Italy. Björnsson, who was the man who picked up the pace at the halfway mark, going through. So we've got a time of 2:45, 4 of them across the line sub 2:46, so that means that we have 2 lucky losers automatically into the lucky loser pen, and so 4 qualifiers from that heat. But Karnikar of Slovenia pretty much gave up on that. That is disappointing. He looks so good in qualifying, finishing 4th, and he's had plenty of time to recover from that. Slightly surprised. So Pozzi, Björnsson, Strand, Pinzani, all into the qualifying at the moment. But Strand and Pinzani have to hang around and wait and see whether anyone can beat that time of 2:45.7. Lavio Muller, end of his day. He'll have to focus now on the distance races taking place later in the week. And then, of course, Carnicar is out with a time 2:47.77, which is what? That's some 7 seconds slower than he did in qualifying. I'm not sure whether he had a mishap halfway round. France with an opportunity for a little bit of teamwork in heat number 3. Calandri and Perila. Norway with Jonas Skogstad. Skogstad's one of those men from up north, comes from Tromsø. What is Tromsø? 69 degrees north, something a little bit more than that, some 3 or 4 degrees north of the Arctic Circle, so they go through a fair amount of time where they don't see the sun at all. But then again, come the middle of June through to the middle of July, the sun never goes away. Swings and roundabouts. Murphy Kimball for USA. Johan Calandri, solid in qualifying. The man from Annecy will do a lot of his training up at Le Grand Bonnat. Mario Perila-Colombe of France. The French, doing pretty well. Deloge, of course, the superstar for France in the cross-country events at the World Championships, but France really having their golden moments in Antolz at the biathlon venue. Canton Firmaillet back to winning ways after a fairly lean period in between the last 2 Olympics. So here we go, heat number 3. Skogstad, Calandri, Perila, Kimball wearing 16, Moreno and Berfus of Spain and Switzerland, the 2 athletes who we would be surprised to see go through, but it's good. It's a good start from Berfus over on the far side in the red of the Swiss. Moreno wearing 25. Where is he positioned at the moment? It's Johan Calandri of France who's setting the pace early on in bib 6. Tucked in behind him is Skogstad. Those 2 only fractions apart, half a second apart in the qualifying earlier on this morning. The qualifying event started at 9 o'clock, so 2.5 hours between the start of the qualifying and the start of the knockout phases. Now we're looking for a time of around 1:30 for a sharpish left-hand bend. They go past a telegraph pole. There it is. The camera's hidden it. The camera's camouflaged from that particular section of the course. And round they come. This is it. 2:30, 2:31. What's that? Half a second down on the last of the heats. So they certainly need to pick the pace up if they want to get lucky losers out of this group. At the moment, 2:45 is what they're after to get more than 2 qualifiers from this heat. And now it's Jonas Skogstad who's starting to push the pace. Had a really good race up in Åsen recently and finished in 2nd in that event. But in the Junior World Championships last year, he was way off the pace, didn't even get through to the knockout phases. So he's improved this year significantly, and Skogstad is the man who leads the way down into the stadium. A nice little drop off to build the speed before they break left into the home straight here. Skogstad leading, and we've got, there you see the lucky loser times of 2:45.6 and 2:45.7. I think it's going to be very, very tight indeed, but it's the time of the 3rd athlete that matters relative to the lucky losers. Kimball's had an outstanding race, so the 2 fastest qualifiers go through in 1 and 2, and Perila has gone in just quick enough, 2:45.6, and Calandri misses out by a fraction. 3 going through from that last heat. 2 heats still to go though. And Perela is not safe quite yet. That's Murphy Kimball. Good to see the Americans going well. Schumacher, Schoonmaker, Ben Ogden, all again producing good results. Ben Ogden certainly the star of the show in the American team in the Olympics, coming away with 2 silver medals. Brilliant second in the sprint behind Johannes Husvik-Klæbo. And of course, America going great guns in the team sprint as well. There's confirmation. And for now, Perela Colom is in the semi-finals, provided no one else beats that time of 2:45.56. But we still have 2 heats to go. 2:45.6 was the time set by Leopold Strand of Norway. He's one of the 2 lucky losers at the moment. Olsen. Ryo Mori of Japan. Be interested to see what he can do. And yeah, 11th in the junior rankings at the moment, Ryo Mori. So he's having a good season, mostly competes in the Far East Cup. So doesn't get a lot of opportunity to race the Europeans and the North Americans. So this is going to be a big experience for him. Palle Anger is there for Sweden. Toby Anger, the giant on the World Cup Tour. I will check. I'm not 100% sure if they're brothers or not. If he's 6'6" wide and about the same height. There he is, number 12. Well, I think the odds are on that he's related. Norway, Japan, Sweden, Canada, Germany, Switzerland. So a nice mix of nationalities. And it's at this level, no nation tends to dominate like we see in the World Cup. Doesn't mean we won't get 2 or 3 from the same nation going through to the semis. But the domination isn't quite as strong as it is the French and the Norwegians in biathlon. It's the Norwegians and the Swedes, particularly in the women's events. Well, there is Anger, and I'm going to put my money on the fact that he's a brother of Toby Anger, but we will check when we get a moment. Robin Blasey of Switzerland wearing 29, slowest qualifier from this heat. Ryo Mori will be expecting to go through, but he was only a fraction of a second quicker than Anger, and now they go head to head, so it is a very different game. Noah Marius Olsen on the near side, second fastest in qualifying. He was, what, 1.31 seconds down on Finn Redman of Canada, who is already safely through to the semi-finals. So heat 4, just 1 to go after this, and then we will know all the semi-finalists. So a clean start for this 4th semi-final, and Anger of Sweden not only is the same size as Toby Anger, he skis the same way. Just got a little bit lucky there, caught that right-hand ski tip. You've got to be very careful in these conditions. The actual racetrack itself is nicely pressed, but there's a lot of fresh snow at the side. Yeah, there's the first tough part of the course. Mori of Japan dancing up it without any problem at all. He did race in the Junior World Championships last year, Mori. Olsen wearing bib 2 is was the fastest qualifier from this heat. There he is leading that left-hand column. Ryo Mori tucked in behind him. Anger of Sweden was the third fastest, so they'd be the three you'd expect to be competing for a position. And again, keep your eye out for the sharp left-hand turn coming up in 20 seconds time. If they're sub 1:30 at that part of the course, they are certainly on schedule to get more than one through, or more than two athletes through. Just a theory that the tracks are getting quicker with each race, but it so often depends on how heavy the snowfall is. And actually, over the last 15-20 minutes, it's eased up a little bit. It was very, very heavy just before the start of the race. Now, around the corner, 1:39. No, they're way off pace, way behind what's required. So only two are going to go through from this heat, and that certainly puts on the pressure, and they will know that they've been taking it easy. Olsen of Norway edges himself out front. Murray, the second fastest qualifier, in second place at the moment. There's a bid coming in from Robin Blasey of Switzerland on the right-hand side. He's going really well. They get a fast downhill section after this. Really important to be well positioned. So it's Olsen leads, Murray in 2, Blasey in 3, and now down towards the stadium. A left-hand turn coming into the finish. Are they going to get an opportunity? I'm not sure they are. Canada with Rally Tart is back in fourth place at the moment, and down goes Noah Marius Olsen, the race leader. The favourite to go through is out, and that certainly provides an opportunity. Well, you don't want to be doing that with your poles at 300 quid a shot. That's an expensive little bit of temper from Olsen, but he goes down. He's lost his chance of winning the Junior World Championships, and it's Switzerland who get a qualifier. Robin Blasey, the slowest qualifier from that heat, is through. Tartar Canada benefits as well, and a 2:50 is not quick enough from Murray. He goes out as well. Can you believe that? Well, I was talking about the soft snow. Hopefully we'll get a replay of the fall. No wonder Blasey's got a big smile on his face. That was a surprise and a half. The powerhouse that is Olsen comes across the line, 3:20, some 30 seconds down on the group that he led for so long. He's furious. He's absolutely boiling. Yeah, not a word to be said to anyone. And I guess the coach will have a word. You always want your athlete to be annoyed when it's gone wrong. But the important thing is that he learns from his failures here to go through. So Blasey and Tart, lucky losers remained. Leopold Strand of Norway, and we've got Perila Colombe, who is the fastest of the lucky losers at the moment. We've only got one heat to go. Now, what sort of pace are they going to set? We've got two of the top 10 from qualifying. Nolan Gersh of Switzerland was the fastest, and he was 2 seconds slower than Redman, but he was some 3 or 4 seconds quicker than the two lucky losers at the moment. So we'd expect to see him go through. Sigüenza of Spain, 8th, and as I'm sure you're aware, the bib number correlates to their position in qualifying. And Olivier of Canada wasn't far outside. Feitness of Norway, will he go some way to making up for Olsen's mistake in that last heat? We will see. We will see. Number 28 there, Luca Ferrari. Why do the Italians always have the best names? 23, Jan Dragowski, racing for Germany. 8, that is Anab Sigüenza for Spain. I'm not sure the Spanish. We've seen Lorenzo Ramos. He didn't make it through. 13 is Thierry Olivier from Canada. Tveitnes of Norway. And then Nolan Gersh, who I was chatting about, the fastest in this heat, again drawn on the left-hand side of the race group, nearest the camera at the moment. There he is, wearing bib number 3 for Switzerland, and the Swiss have just seen Rally Tart go through from that last heat. So, the final quarter-final And after this, we will know both the women's and the men's semi-final lineups. And the pace already looking pretty conservative. Just wait for the first uphill climb, which starts about now. No discernible increase in effort. And it may be early days, but I'm put my neck on the block and say only 2 qualifiers going through from this heat. Gersh and Ziguenza quite happy just to dictate things. 18 is Tveitnes of Norway. Gersh sitting in behind the Norwegian. Leading that right-hand column is the Spaniard Anab Ziguenza. And 13, tucked in behind him, is Canada's Olivier. Ferrari deciding to go for a little bit of fuel injection and puts himself to the front. Now you do take the wind, you do do a little bit more work, probably 1.5% extra by leading the way. The faster you go, the more significant it is. And in a cross-country sprint, they're generally averaging about 28.5, 29 kilometers an hour. Well, we're once again even slower than the 4th heat, so no chance. 1:43, they're 13 seconds down on the fastest heat to this stage. So again, only 2 going through from this particular group. Well, outstanding. Tveitnes of Norway has got the advantage at the moment. Switzerland's Gersh coming up on his left-hand side, and Gersh with some nice footwork, but stumbles halfway up the climb. Hasn't stopped him going to the front though. So Gersh leads, Tveitnes in 2. Ferrari of Italy trying to squeeze himself into 3rd position, and he does so successfully as we come into the last 30 seconds of the race. 2:45 needed for lucky losers. They're way outside that pace at the moment. We're looking at around 2:50, 2:52 for the winning time. So 20 seconds to go. Switzerland leading. Norway in 2nd place at the moment. Ferrari of Italy goes on the inside, looking for just a little bit extra to move up into the top 2. Tveitnes wants none of it. He moves left, doesn't block the Italian as such, but it's going to be tight. And wow, that is on the lunge. Photo finish for 2 and 3 without a doubt. Ferrari had it with a metre to go. I just get a feeling Tveitnes might have pipped him with a slightly better timed lunge. He's certainly got longer legs than the Italian, and that might make all the difference. Still waiting for that to be confirmed. Gersh has got the win. Tveitnes and Ferrari waiting for confirmation. The initial decision was to give it to the Norwegian. Maybe you saw it differently. Tveitnes has got it. 1/100th of a second. So Luca Ferrari, he misses out. If it had feet 2 sizes bigger, he was in. That was very, very close. Unlucky, because it was a good burst. And actually, there may be an objection from the Italian team. Was he obstructed on the run-in? Possibly. Possibly he was. So we'll keep an eye out for that when we get through to the men's semi-finals, just to see if there's a change in the lineup. So semi-final 1, Skogstad, Potsi, Pedersen, Redmond, Bjørsen and Strand. 2 Norwegians, 2 Swedes. Italy represented, as well as Canada, with Finn Redmond the fastest qualifier. And then Gersh and Blasey of Switzerland are through in the 2nd semi. Kimball of USA, Tveitnes of Norway, Tart of Canada is through, and Perla Colombe of France. So plenty of interest from the various nations as we go back to the women's semi-finals. Generally only a couple of minutes delay. There's the lineup. There is the lineup. 3 Norwegians in the 1st semi, none in the 2nd. We got 2 French athletes in the 2nd semi-final, so they've got 3 in all. Norway have 3 in all. Finland have 1. Estonia, Switzerland, Canada, and Czechia, represented by Duskova. Well, there's the favourite. after a brilliant run, 3 seconds quicker than anyone in qualifying this morning. But as we saw from Olsen, things can go wrong. Duskova is powerful, and I wouldn't be surprised to see her go through to the final. Number 4 is Margrethe of France, looks strong. Number 5 is Aline Skår, 19-year-old from Nittedal, just outside Oslo, so gets to train on the Holmenkollen tracks. And then Julie Sand Hansen from Eiker, just outside Oslo as well. 7th in the national championships last year. So we're underway. What sort of pace are they going to set? We'll try and get a split at around a minute to see where they are. And again, the format is two automatic qualifiers and then 2 lucky losers from the semi-finals to make up a total of 6 in the final. Yeah, sprinting hasn't changed too much since its inception. Tweaked the numbers a little bit earlier on, but generally deciding that 6 is fair. 8, there'd be too much congestion. Have to widen the track significantly to do that. And Drivenes, wearing 1, seems to have a lot of respect from the athletes around her. She is totally dictating the pace. And up to the top of the second little climb, going over the top in 1:05. Same course for the men and the women. And men and women now racing the same distances in the World Cup. Still a fair amount of controversy surrounding that, but I'm a big fan. Certainly helps with the course preparation. Certainly helps with the time in between races. And a 4x7.5 relay does tend to be a bit more exciting for the men than the 4x10. I'm not sure they couldn't have gone down a 4x5, to be honest. So, bit of a Sunday stroll coming up now to that left-hand turn. And 1:52 on the clock. The fastest men's heat went round there in just under 1:30. So this is what you might call a pedestrian pace. And when the first half is pedestrian, you know there are going to be some fireworks in the second half of the race. The 3 Norwegians, 1, 2 and 3 at the moment. Only 2 of them will go through automatically to the semi-final. But they're on home snow here in Lillehammer. The Birkebeiner Stadium hosted the Olympic Games back in 1994, so it means a lot to all these Norwegians here. And trying to get on terms with the Norwegians is Margrethe of France, who was 4th place in the qualifying. It is quite a high-class semi-final, has to be said. Duskova was considerably slower than the others, and she's further back at the moment. But Drivenes of Norway dominating this first semi-final, and I suspect we're going to see her charging for victory in around 20 minutes' time. She looks left, she looks right. She can see that she's got plenty of distance over the others. There's a challenge coming in on the right-hand side. Is that Margrethe of France? It may well be, and Drivenes needs to be a little bit careful here, and 2 of the Norwegians caught out. Duskova, the slowest of the qualifiers, had an absolute blinder over the last 200 metres. Great skiing from her. 3:11 and 3:12. Skår and Sand Hansen are not out of it quite yet. Will the second semi be quite as quick as that? I think there's a chance it might be. I think Skår and Sand Hansen were caught napping there. Drivenes had it under control. Duskova pulling a big surprise. Great effort from the Czech athlete. There she is, number 20. She's a big, powerful skier and has got herself through to the finals of the Junior World Championships. Well, again, much slower than we saw in qualifying. Drivenes did a 3:02, so she was
9 seconds down on her qualifying time, saving as much as she can for the final. She's played her cards absolutely right so far. Margarita, incidentally, of France in 5th, no chance of her going through to the final. And Jantonen, the 16-year-old Finn, she raced late on in the first round. She had less time to recover than anyone. And I did suggest that the way she raced in that first round was all about getting through to the semi-finals. So she's guaranteed herself a top 12 finish in the Junior World Championships at the age of just 16. Keep that name in mind for the future. She's a really promising athlete. I like the way she raced. She was aggressive, wasn't intimidated from far bigger names around her. And I think she could have a rosy future. Is she going to be the next Palmakoski or Niskanen? Laria Gruber, 3rd in qualifying, and only just behind Bucher of Austria. Coupa of France, 17th in qualifying. Number 6 is Soroya of Canada. Had to fight a little to get through the first round. What's she got left to give in this second semi-final? Heidi Bucher of Austria. Raced the World Cup in Goms, actually, so got a taste of the big time. Just before the Olympic Games, Oberhofen Goms hosting the last 2 rounds of the World Cup before the Olympics, and of course this weekend hosting Falun in Sweden, hosting World Cup events. Some great races. Do watch them on catch up if you haven't seen them. Sprints and skiathlons. So Bucher, Rayas, Gruber, Soroya, Napé and Coupa. 2 French. That's Napé and Coupa wearing 19 and 17. Austria will be expecting to get a qualifier out of this group. Bucher in the middle wearing 2, taking it very, very easy at the moment. Now, the top of the second hill, that first semi, went through in 1:05.
Looks like the speed is quite good here from the start. Slowing down a little bit again now.
Not the fastest. And Romain Napé, Coupa of France, actually really good over the 10k distance, so she'll be looking forward to the longer races at these championships. Junior sprints today, under 23 sprints tomorrow. Wednesday is a 20k mass start for the juniors. Thursday the 20k mass start for the under 23s, and then Friday a 10k. Saturday 10k's again back to the under 23s, and then the relays on Sunday, which as you'll know, I'm sure, involve both classic and freestyle, 2 legs of each. So Napé, the slowest qualifier, leading the way at the moment. I missed the top of that second hill, but 1:52 was the first semi, round the left-hand bend, coming up in around 5 seconds time. 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. They're down. They are down. So Skår and Sand Hansen of Norway, who recorded times of 3:11 and 3:12, will be starting to relax. It's not a massive margin. They could turn it around, but they've got to go hard from this point here. Herta Rojas of Estonia doing some good work, setting the pace as they head for home in this second semi-final. Heidi Bucher of Austria sitting in second place, already looking around left and right just to keep an eye on the opposition. 17 is Annette Coupa in 3rd at the moment. Her teammate Napé just behind her, and Ilaria Gruber for Switzerland some way off the back at the moment, and I don't think she is going to contend. Heidi Bucher still there in second place. We've got 3 going for 2 places at the moment. 2:54 on the clock. Remember, the lucky loser times are 3:11 and 3:12. That's what they're trying to get inside. Bucher, so much time, very, very relaxed. She looks to see who's how far they are behind, and it's a long, long way. She can relax over the last 50 metres. So Bucher's going to be a qualifier. And a great race from Estonia again, with Rias coming through to qualify in second place, and Kupar on 3:17.9. They were in the end some 5 seconds down on the time required for lucky losers. So both the French athletes miss out. Kupar and Nappe in 3 and 4 will not play any further part in this Junior World Championship sprint. Booker, Rias, the only two to go through. Now, their problem, if they see it as such, is the fact that they now have 5 minutes less to recover for their final, which will take place after the men's semi-finals. Slightly longer delay between the semis and the final than there is between the first round and the semis. So Heidi Booker looked good. That's going to be an interesting lineup between Booker and Drivenes. Booker qualified in 2, Drivenes in 1. The time margin between them was 3.93, so nearly 4 seconds. But I think Booker might have been playing a tactical game there, trying to save some energy for the end of the day. 4 races remaining. 2 of the men's semis, and then the finals for both the women and the men, and that will wrap up the first day of action at these Junior World Championships. Junior Worlds and of course the under-23s. Previous champions that you might have heard of, Lars Hagen, winning in 24. Lars Hagen, of course, the man who is tipped to topple Klæbo at the top of the sprinting world. He got pretty close this weekend in Falun. As far as the women go, Marta Rosenberg has won this. Malen Holsveen winning last year in the women's. So Federico Pozzi in the Azzurri blue. Eddie Pedersen, who looks strong in the first round. He's a big, strong lad, isn't he? Now, Finn Redman didn't really have to do too much to qualify for the semis, so hopefully he's got something in reserve. Jonas Skogstad of Norway on the near side. We have qualifying numbers 1, 5 and 7 and 10, so 4 of the top 10 in qualifying in this first semi-final. And then Björsen and Strand in 17 and 27, the least likely to feature. But having said that, it's Björsen of Sweden who goes off very, very hard to take the lead. And then we've got Finn Redman matching him. Redman with the left leg that is red. Not quite sure what colour the right leg is, but that's the Canadian suit. Norway's colours, I'm sure you know, the red with the white sort of cuffs around the calf. And then on the far side, Sweden with Eddie Pedersen, who looks to be working really, really hard to get into a competitive position. Pozzi of Italy hasn't done much so far. Pozzi coming through, just trying to work out which of the heats he came. He came from heat number 2, so he's had a bit of time to recover. The man who's got very little chance. I think Björsen could struggle come the end of this one. But he's leading the way at the moment. Now, the pace has been pretty healthy throughout. 1:30 is the quickest time to this left-hand corner, and they're not going to be so far outside that. So they're not taking any risks in this event. Round they come, 1:30, 1:31, 1:30.5. Let's count that, and it's still a very, very tight race indeed. It's all about battling for position. There's quite a stiff climb coming up, and the leader generally going through to the next round. Very few overtaking manoeuvres in the last 200 metres so far today, but that could change today. This is the stiffest climb of all. It's steepest, it's the longest. As they come back towards the stadium, you can see the finishing straight down the bottom over the high point now, and Norway getting excited. Skogstad going well for them. Italy's Federico Pozzi in second place. Canada with Finn Redmond might be starting to get a little bit concerned. Not only is he in third at the moment and outside a qualifying place, but he's some 10 metres or so back on the Italian in second. Into the home straight now. It's Skogstad who leads for Norway. Can Pozzi of Italy keep the pace going? He's got some competition coming on the inside. It looks like Leopold Strand and Norway's had a good finish as well. But Pozzi does enough. He's through. Skogstad makes it a final slot. And then Strand and Norway has to wait and see. 2:43.2, the lucky loser times. Strand and Pedersen given exactly the same time from Norway and Sweden. Finn Redmond, the fastest qualifier, is out. Has he gone and done a Ben Ogden and used up too much energy in the early stages of the competition? Tage Bjørnsen also set the pace for the first, kilometre must have been, Bjørnsen. And as the slowest qualifier, if you're going to do that, you've got to slow the pace down. But he kept the pace very, very respectable. And he's paid a price. He finishes down in 6th. Redmond is out. There's the first big surprise of the men's competition. Pozzi looked good for Italy, continuing Norway's fabulously rich tradition of producing some top world-class sprinters. Zorzi, of course, started off back in the early 2000s, and since then it's all been about Federico Pellegrino, who has been absolutely brilliant over the last decade and a half. And still racing well. Pellegrino still looking very, very sharp. And, of course, getting himself a couple of medals at the Olympic Games as well. May have been bronzes, but it was medals. When the Norwegians are around, those gold medals are hard to come by. When Klæbo's around, of course, taking 6 golds from 6 races. And the Norwegians winning the women's relay as well. Quick look at the replay of the race just to check whether a protest is right. I think that could well have been Finn Redmond's team. Very disappointed to see him go out, and the Canadians have another chance though with Rally Tart in this second round. Let's look at the lineup for the second semi-final. Para-Colombe of France, 15th in qualifying. Robin Blazy, bit of a surprise coming through in his heat to qualify. He won heat number 4. Number 19, that is Rally Tart. Next door to him, Tveitnes of Norway, who really hasn't had much time to recover. Most of these athletes coming out of heats 3 and 4. And then number 3, that is Nolan Gersh. And bib number 3, who's Para-Colombe of France. He was in heat number 3, so he's had plenty of time to recover. Underway, the last of the semi-finals, looking to join Pozzi, Skogstad in the final, and if it's quick enough, if they can beat 2:43, we could well get 3 or 4 qualifiers. We'll get a very, very early impression of the pace being set. At the moment, it's Tveitnes of Norway on the near side, slightly smaller than the figures on the far side. 15 is Para-Colombe of France. He's eating up the ground deceptively fast. Very, very powerful skier indeed. Tveitnes still wearing 18 on the near side. In third place, is that the Canadian? I think it must be Rally Tart. It is. And at the back of the pack at the moment is Robin Blazy of Switzerland, who I don't think has had time to recover from his efforts in that first round. He's got to hope that something goes wrong. Of course, a faller, Olsen, taking a big fall in Robin Blazy's heat, which allowed him to come through and grab a qualifying slot. Noah Marius Olsen, the second fastest qualifier, did not make it through. Looks slow to me, and I think they're going to be 1:35 when they turn the corner and head back into the stadium. Might even be a little bit slower than that. If that is the case, Pedersen and Strand can start getting limbered up for the men's final, because we will only have 2 qualifiers. 135, it's even slower, 141, so only 2 going through from this semi-final, but we've still got 5 in contention. I'm not sure that Blazy is going to play a part in the final sprint. Looking good at the moment, the 2 Frenchmen. We've got Perla-Colombe on the left of your screen. And there's an injection of pace from Murphy Kimball, who's going great guns at the moment to put the Americans out in front. Kimball with bib 16 on, looking very, very good. Perla-Colombe of France in 2nd place. And who's that coming through in 3rd at the moment? Well, we're going to get a change in order. It is all about the top 2 at the moment. USA and France are going to grab the qualifying spots, but can you believe it? Perla-Colombe goes down, and the Swiss are going to benefit yet again. Molen Gersh, I think it is, coming through to grab that 2nd slot. It is Gersh who goes through. Tar Canada in 3. 2:50 is way outside the lucky loser times. And so more drama in the closing stages. What on earth happened to Perla-Colombe? How did he allow that to happen? Off comes the bib. Yeah, he's going to storm out of here, furious with himself, having done all the hard work. And then last across the line is Robin Blazy, who I think was just happy to go through the semi-finals. Well, we haven't been seeing too many slow-mos, but I could really do with seeing what happened there. When did we last see someone fall in the last 50 metres? It's pretty rare. There was plenty of space, and I don't think he can even blame the soft snow on this occasion. So Murphy Kimball of USA has pulled a bit of a blinder so far. 16th qualifier, and he wins his semi-final. So he will be up against Potsy and Skogstad, Strand and Pedersen. Strand and Pedersen, the 2 lucky losers, and then of course Nolan Gersh, who he's already beaten today. Well, that leaves us with 2 races remaining on day 1 of the Junior World Ski Championships. Cross-country skiing, ski jumping, and of course Nordic Combined as well. Now, I don't know if you were with us earlier on, but this event was due to be held in Trondheim, which hosted the World Championships last year. Often that's the deal when a venue hosts or wins the World Championships, they'll then host the Junior Worlds. But Trondheim, largely due to the weather, which was absolutely atrocious at those World Championships, and they had to spend millions and millions of kroner on keeping the tracks in raceable condition, and also the fact that, you know, what did we have, 7 days of solid rain, not a flake of snow to be seen, meant that the fan numbers were massively down. It was still a decent turnout, as you'd expect in Norway, but it was way below what they'd predicted. So Trondheim in all sorts of financial trouble, and when you've got a city on the west coast of Norway that's struggling financially, you know it's bad. There aren't too many of them. Anyway, that is why these World Championships are being held in Lillehammer, and no loss to the athletes whatsoever, because Lillehammer has some incredible facilities. And we're about halfway up the hill towards Sjusjøen and Nordseter. It's a very popular venue for training most of the Norwegian athletes. Well, they either base themselves in Trondheim, where they've got a pocket of world-class athletes, or they come and train here in Lillehammer. So the tracks are kept in perfect condition. You can get yourself the app and just track out where the track cutters are, and if you want to ski on virgin tracks, as they call them. You just follow the piece cutters. Many, many miles. So the first medal's minutes away from being decided, probably 4 minutes from now. I would imagine it will take us another 60 seconds or so to get everyone ready for the women's final. And Herta Rajas of Estonia has done so well to get through to this stage of the competition. Alongside her, the fastest qualifier, and still, from what we've seen today, the outstanding favourite, Iselin Drivenes of Norway. 3.9 seconds quicker than everyone else in qualifying, but always take that information with caution, because she might have gone too hard. Has she saved something for the final? Heidi Booker is the athlete who's highly likely to find out. She's powerful, very, very strong in the closing stages. Could well be her day. Katarina Duskova, she was holding back during the qualifying. Her semi-final was sensational. Czechia delighted to have her represented in the last 6 of the Junior World Championships. Aline Skar of Norway is one of 3 Norwegians, 2 of them coming through by virtue of lucky losers. And there is the other one, Julie Sand Hansen, 19-year-old from Aker, and 7th in the national championships last year. So she's gone up a level in terms of her standards, and certainly can consider herself a medal hope. But the favourites are bib number 1, which is Drivenes in the red of Norway, and I think Heidi Booker of Austria wearing bib number 2. Both of them over on the far side, and Booker just tucking in behind Drivenes of Norway. Going to track her all the way to the finish, I suspect. So, where is... who is likely to claim the 3rd medal if it does turn out to be a battle between Drivenes and Booker? I think Katarina Duskova we certainly have to watch out for. Bib number 20, Czechia with a black suit. You can see the CZE written on the left leg, so she's pretty easy to pick out. And then we've got Aline Skar on the near side wearing 5. Just behind her is her teammate Julie Sand Hansen. Skar, the national junior champion in the sprint, the 5k and the 10k, so she's an outstanding talent as well. And if she's been holding back, maybe she feels she can give Drivenes a run for her money in the closing stages of this sprint. Number 13 is Herta Rajas of Estonia. I think Rajas actually delighted to make it through to this stage, playing a part in the Junior World Championship final, guaranteed a top 6. That goes down as a good day's work. Well, the pace is slow. They're about 10 seconds slower to the top of the second climb, and that will put them at around 150, at about 150 going round the left-hand turn that I've used as a reference point throughout the competition so far. Drivenes leading at the moment. I think it's Aline Skar in 2nd place. Duskova is there for Czechia in 4th. It's Heidi Booker of Austria in 3 at the moment. And the Estonia, Rajas, is off the back of the pack at the moment. The pace has definitely picked up, and it's Drivenes who's setting the pace at the moment. Aline Skar trying to stay level with her. 3 national titles to her name, but can she overtake Drivenes in the closing stages? Whoever gets to the top of this climb first is almost certain to claim a medal, but it's a question of what will the colour be. Keep an eye out for Booker of Austria in 2nd place at the moment. She looked brilliant in the semi-final coming into the last 200 metres. So Drivenes leads, Booker in 2. It's Skar of Norway in 3, and they are the 3 that will take the medals, provided we don't get another faller in the closing stages. They drop off the bridge, and it's a left-hand turn into the finishing straight, and and still Drivenus has not managed to shake off Heidi Booker of Austria, who may well fancy her chances. The last 100 metres now, and it's Drivenus who's done all the work. Booker is working hard, ups the tempo, closes the gap, and the Austrian looks as though she may well get the lead here. It could be gold for Austria as Drivenus ties up in the last 20 metres. What a surprise that is. Drivenus was too quick in qualifying. Booker paced it perfectly, and Score claiming that bronze medal. So 2 medals to the host nation, but Austria overjoyed with that. Heidi Booker is the junior world champion. How about that? Brilliant tactics. She just tucked in behind the race favourite, and it looked easy over the last 150 metres. Well, Booker, the only athlete in the field who raced in the Olympic Games. She didn't make a massive impression, but she did get through to the knockout phases of the sprint, finished 29 in that, and she's gone a few steps higher today by winning the Junior World Championships. Austria certainly have something to get excited about now. Drivenus and Score, 2 highly talented athletes, have been well beaten. Heidi Booker, not only was she strong, but tactically she got it perfect. Duskova there, bib number 20, 4th place for Duskova. She was some way behind. There was a big gap between 3 and 4, to be fair, and that was Rios of Estonia. Just congratulating the Austrian, a cross-country powerhouse, well over 6 foot tall, and she's as strong as she is tall. Score there. There's Drivenus, the race favourite. Could she have done anything differently? Well, I think Drivenus really could have played it a bit more tactically. She would have been far better off tucking in behind someone else and then lighting the afterburners just before the last 400 metres. It is a tough finish here in Lillehammer. They've been caught out more than once. Today, it was Heidi Booker who played her cards perfectly to win the Junior World Championship. Just as a reminder, she was 40th last year in the Junior Worlds. Did finish 15th in the 20-kilometre Classic. But this is, it's not a surprise because she's got better and better over recent months. But I think where's she? Is she heading to the mix zone and a quick interview? That would be nice. That's the brightest dry robe I've ever seen. Just the job on this sort of a day. The Austrian team winning the first event of the Junior World Championships. How about that? How about that? Great news. Yeah, Stadlober didn't feature yesterday in the World Cup. Vermeulen doing okay in the men's event over in Falun yesterday. So they've had a decent weekend, and of course Benny Moser got himself on the podium in the sprint in Falun as well. So it's an excellent week for Austria, regardless of what happens for the next 5-6 days or so. Just a reminder, for the junior athletes, Wednesday their 20k, Friday will be their 10k time trial, the 20k being a mass start, and then on Sunday, if selected, they've got the 4x5 relays.
Relativt tungt det här.
We get to find out what it's like to be beaten. They did get the silver and the bronze, so they're on the way to picking up a few medals. What did they get? 43 medals in the Olympic Games. Top of the medal table yet again. They only have a population of 5 million or so. So what's their secret? Well, many thinking it's numbers, and certainly it helps. But they get numbers, they get people involved. 80% of Norwegians are either members of a summer or a winter sports club. and many of them members of both. And the priority at all levels up to 14, 15, the priority, and actually all the way through their skiing career, the priority is to have fun. And if you have fun, you want to go back and have more fun. And so their success is the fact that the kids, they don't turn up once, twice, and then decide they don't like it. They turn up time and time again, even if they're not winning. And that's the skill of the coach, isn't it? Make it good fun for those who are finishing down in 5th, 6th or 7th, or even make it fun for the person who's finishing in last place. Well, let's just recap. So Booker getting the gold medal. We're waiting for the start of the men's final, incidentally. Booker getting gold medal for Austria in that first sprint. 3:08.61 was the winning time. Still some 6 seconds slower than we saw in qualifying earlier on today. Driven us the silver, the favourite getting the silver medal. Aline Score, good race from her. You know, we know she's a classy act. I think she's probably better at the distance races, so there could be more medals coming her way. She gets the bronze. Duskova of Czechia just missing out in 4. Sam Hansen in 5. And then Rias of Estonia, nothing left to give. I don't think she'd quite recovered from a massive effort in the semi-finals. So we can now focus on the men's final. And we have, again, the Scandinavians are there in numbers. 2 Norwegians, 2 Swedes. But Italy have got Federico Pozzi, who was brilliant in that second semi-final, to come through and qualify. Has he recovered? We will find out soon enough. It does make it very, very tough. Eddie Pedersen racing for Sweden. Pelianga of Sweden going out in the early rounds. So it's all slightly subdued at the moment, but things will liven up once this race gets underway, and there has to be a little bit of a delay, otherwise the men who race the second semi-final have no chance at all. Kimball of USA winning that one, and Nolan Gersh of Switzerland going through. So they're the two. I must apologise, I thought Pozzi had gone in semi-final number 2. He actually won semi-final number 1, pipping Skodstad and Strand on the line. We got 4 qualifiers from that first semi-final, just 2 coming from the second semi. Murphy Kimball. Now, we've had an Austrian winner, an American winner. That would liven things up a bit, but you know, USA are not a minor nation when it comes to cross-country skiing. They've been led over the last, 8 years or so. Jesse Diggins, Keegan Randall doing their bit. But on the men's side, Ben Ogden and Gus Schumacher have been fantastic. And, you know, it's no surprise to see them finishing in the top 5 or even getting on the podium. So there is Eddie Pedersen, Sweden's only hope of getting a medal on day 1 at these Junior World Championships. Leopold Strand, who raced in semi-final number 1 and came through as a lucky loser. Federico Pozzi, who had a brilliant finish. Absolutely fantastic finish, and the outstanding talent on the Junior World Cup so far this year. 5 is Jonas Skogstad, 16 is Murphy Kimball from USA, and then number 3 Nolan Gersh. And again, a reminder, the bib number correlates to their position in qualifying earlier on today. Pozzi with the blue bib on actually finished in 7th place, so I think he's certainly capable of more than that, and keeping a brilliant tradition of Italian sprinters going. Ferrari has gone, 3 Italians making it through to the last 1:30. Marco Pinzani was the other one, but he went out early on in the first round. So as we settle, it's Eddie Pedersen, who led his semi, is out in front at the moment, I guess wanting a bit of space. The snow's still coming down, so it's not, you could argue it's not a massive advantage to lead. Kimball of USA on the left-hand side, as you look at it, wearing 16. Tucked in behind him is Pozzi of Italy. And then number 3 is Nolan Gersch at the back, the Swiss athlete, just biding his time at the moment. It's not about speed, it's all about tactics. If you think you haven't got a fast enough finish, then you need to go all guns from the very start of this one, but everyone else will feed off your efforts. And I think Eddie Pedersen may be regretting the fact that he went to the front very, very early on, because the others are just sitting in behind and looking pretty comfortable at the moment. Skogstad of Norway in a good position, and just behind him Leopold Strand, who qualified in 27th position. The Norwegians juggling now. We've seen a few fallers. We've seen a few fallers so far today, and it is Skogstad still in second. They've opened up a little bit of gap between 3 and 4. Pozzi of Italy, is he close enough? There's a big climb coming up now, and the Italian needs to move from 4th up into 2nd if he wants to challenge for the top spot today. It's still Sweden leading. Eddie Pedersen going for the top of the climb. Such an advantage to be in a good shot, and we've got another faller. This time it's Skogstad of Norway who's gone down, and that opens up a medal opportunity for Federico Pozzi, who was lightning quick with his feet to step around the Norwegian. Now, if Skogstad can get back into this, that would be a miracle, but he's got some 25 metres to make up on the race leaders. It's looking as though the gold is going to Pedersen or Strand, wearing 27. Pozzi was quick over the last 100, and he ups the tempo again, but he's got a big gap to close this time. Pedersen on the far side in the white and blue of Sweden, still holding on to pole position, and Austria, it's Sweden who go through to take the second gold of the day, and Strand of Norway gets the silver. So the host nation not having it all their own way here in Lillehammer. Pedersen was brilliant. That was brave. He went out, led from the start. Very, very rare that an athlete can lead from start to finish in a sprint event of this quality. But Pedersen was outstanding. How about that? What strength he showed over the closing stages. Yes, the fact that Skogstad went down helped him massively. But Skogstad just getting a little bit too close at the top of the climb. And the junior world champion is Eddie Pedersen, 10th in qualifying. He comes from Åsane, which is a club based around the Falun area, so rich in ski history. And that is sensational. Just looking back to see who recently, no Swedes really. Marta Rosenberg in the women's has won at junior championship level. That was last year, but no Swedes other than, well, Anton Gran. He got a silver medal in 24, and then Lindberg got a bronze medal in the same race back in 24. But Pedersen has gone better than that. He's taken the gold medal. He's the junior world champion, and as a result, we will keep an eye out for him in future years. Pedersen's 20, so last year as a junior, it will be under 23s next time round. He was the silver medalist in the Junior National Championships last year for Sweden, 10th in the World Championships last year in Silpario in Italy, and he has stepped it up. He's a good roller skier actually, won a roller ski race at the end of 25. That was in Falun as well, which is where his base is. How about that? So, yeah, he goes from success to success. He won the event in Lillehammer recently. So Norway finishing the first day of these Junior World Championships with 3 medals, 2 silver and a bronze. Austria with a gold, Sweden with a gold, and Pozzi of Italy claiming the last bronze of the day.
On 3, we're very happy. 1, 2, 3, yeah! Oh, wow. Yes, you guys can get changed and then we do interviews and podium. You have 5 minutes.
Well, they've got their orders. Interviews coming up shortly as the fans make the way away from the Birkebeiner Stadium here up above the city of Lillehammer, and well done to all those who came to support, because the weather conditions have been pretty grim. It's not cold, but it's damp cold, and it has been snowing all the way through. Is that someone there with a little kid? Well done to them. But yeah, tough day's work for spectators and skiers alike, and a thought for the technicians who have had to work really hard to prepare the skis today. Difficult to get it right. A good thing it wasn't a classic sprint, because it would have been even harder. But tactics win the day, and I must say, Eddie Pedersen surprised me. I didn't think he could pull that one off, having led from the start, but he was very strong, knew where he wanted to be at the top of the big climb, and he had saved something for the last 400 metres. The home straight here in Lillehammer is flat. It's a big difference. It only has to be a climb of, what, 2 or 3 degrees, and then those who've saved more tend to benefit in the closing stages. But when it's flat, if you come around that final corner in the lead, it is a massive advantage, and maybe that was Pedersen's thinking before the start of the final, because it's no doubt that he had his race plan absolutely nailed, and he stuck to it. Get in front, stay in front, and hang on as long as you can. And that was long enough. He survived the full 1,300 metres to take the Junior World Championship gold medal ahead of Leopold Strand of Norway, who qualified in 27th. So not many were expecting to see him get through to the final.
Here in Lillehammer, bronze medal. Are you satisfied?
Yeah, I would say I'm pretty satisfied. Of course, I wanted the gold, but I think I tactically did the final very well, so I must be happy with the race. Yeah.
What is your goal next on these championships?
This was my only race, so I will just keep doing the Norwegian Cup at home, and I will try to do better next year also.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Well, that's a shame. She's a good distance racer, but there's a lot of competition in that Norwegian team. And Elin Skår getting the bronze medal in the women's event today. We haven't heard from the winner as yet, Heidi Bucher of Austria. Getting one over the Norwegians, which is not easy at this level of competition. And hopefully, not all Junior World Championships go through to be Senior World Championships, but Heidi Bucher, she's big and strong, and certainly will fancy her chances against some of the big names. And as I said, she did go to the
Junior World Champion. How does that feel?
That feels incredible. I don't know what to say. I wanted to get a medal today, and now I have the gold medal. I'm Junior World Champion, and I don't know, it's crazy.
What was your tactic during the race?
I just tried to stay behind the other Norwegians, and I knew that in the finish I'm really good. And when I was in the back at the top, I kind of knew I could win, and I did win.
You were at the Olympic Games, so maybe you used that strength and the experience you learned there here today?
Yes, I think I was way calmer than the last years when I was at the Junior World Champs. And I think that really was a strength, and I really could show what I'm capable of.
Can you say a word in German?
Hello.
Okay, thank you very much.
If you ask for a word, you get a single word. That was Heidi Bucher, the new Junior World Champion in cross-country skiing sprint event. And as she said, going to the Olympic Games, I guess, makes the Junior World Championships slightly less intimidating. And she was very, very relaxed out on the tracks. She also raced in the World Cup in Goms, actually.
Second place last year in Skill Pario, and here again today. How does that feel?
I really wanted to win today, so I'm not so happy, but I did my best and I wasn't better today, so that's how it is.
Do you have big expectations for the rest of the championships?
Yes, I'm motivated now at least, so I hope to go. I'm excited for the 20K, so I look forward to that one now.
Does it feel special to compete on a home soil?
It's very cool, and that makes me even want to do good more, so yes, I'm excited for the rest.
Thank you very much.
Well, a disappointed Iselin Drivenes, 20-year-old from Lommedalens, and that motivation, revenge, I think, will be her motivation over the next few days. We're racing all the way through to Sunday. She's got a day off tomorrow to gather her thoughts and get over the disappointment of not taking the gold medal. She was 4 seconds quicker than everyone in qualifying. You do not need to be 4 seconds quicker than in qualifying. It's all about conserving energy for the final. And had she skied, she could have skied 20 seconds slower in qualifying and still got through to the knockout phases. She wouldn't have had such a good choice of group, but it might have put her in a much better position come the final. So you learn from your mistakes, not from your successes. So I think Drivenes will be back and she'll be a stronger athlete in the future. She's got herself a silver, for goodness sake. That's a pretty good effort for day one. But we'll keep an eye out for her in the distance races later on.
Ja, på herre bort nå. Hvor lang sendetid I forhold til når det har?
Obviously just waiting for the medal ceremonies here at the Junior World Championships after day one. Two surprises to start, open the meeting. And that's always healthy, always healthy. I think even the Norwegians might be slightly relieved that they haven't won the opening two events. They've got 2 silvers and a bronze from the 6 medals handed out today, but it's Austria and Sweden. And for Sweden to get a men's gold medal, that's fantastic. They've been getting such a hard time in the press. Their men really underperforming, not just at the Olympic Games, but they've underperformed for what, 2-3 seasons now. Edvin Agger
Third place today. How do you like this bronze medal?
Yeah, I like. I think I do better, but I'm happy for this medal, and we see the next day what we can do.
You dominated in Novemesto in the Alpine Cup. How is it today to compete against the Scandinavians?
Yeah, I think the level Scandinavian is high, but the same in Europe for the junior is high. We see next year what we can do.
What are your goals for the distances?
Do the better I can.
Thank you very much.
So I hope you got the gist of that. That, of course, was Federico Pozzi, who's taken the bronze medal in the men's event and looked very, very good in the semi-finals. I think he will have been a bit disappointed. He let a gap of something like 10 metres open up between himself and the silver medal position. For me, he was probably the quickest over the last 100 metres, but he was too far back to challenge and Pedersen of Sweden coming through to take the gold medal in that event. The medal ceremony coming up shortly here in Lillehammer. Looks as though the snowplow, the Beaten Bullies are going to have a busy night getting the tracks prepared for the under-23 sprint tomorrow. First of all, the women's results and all the finalists getting to take their place. Right of your picture, that's Hertarajas of Estonia. Yeah, did brilliantly to get through to the last 6, to be honest. I think she'll be delighted with that. Sand Hansen of Norway, I think may be disappointed not to have been in the fight for a medal. Katarina Duskova, who looked so good in the semi-final, but then just didn't have anything left to give. Third place for Elin Skar of Norway, and a bronze medal that she's not particularly happy with, and Drivenes wasn't particularly happy with the silver either, but I think in 24 hours time she'll get over that, and if she can get herself a gold in one of the other events. But Heidi Booker is the name on everyone's lips. 19-year-old from Absam Nordic Club has taken the gold here shortly after her experiences at the Olympic Games. Remember, she did the sprint, the relay, and raced in the team sprint as well. Finished 10th in that. So she's had one incredible season. And we saw a race in Goms, was 55th, didn't get through to the last 30 in the World Cup. Actually harder to make the last 30 in a World Cup than it is in the Olympic Games, because the big teams like Norway, France, Germany limited to just 4 athletes. But it is still the top 30 who make it into the knockout rounds. So, for the first time this year, we are going to hear the Austrian national anthem, I hope.
No, but you know, I have no.
Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of the winner, the national anthem of Austria.
So the Austrian team enjoying that moment of success. Heidi Booker has claimed the first gold of the Junior World Championships, and there'll be a couple more photos before we move on to the medal ceremony for the men's event here, the junior sprint. 1,300 metres the distance, qualifying early this morning, so it's been a long day for these athletes already. They'll be glad that they've got 48 hours to recover before their next event, which is the 20-kilometre mass start. And that is going to be freestyle again, so in the skating technique, Drivenes has trashed the podium. Yeah, in these conditions, just need to be a little bit careful. It can get quite slippy up on those steps. Yeah, Drivness is very, very disappointed. But it may be a valuable lesson to learn, and I'm sure she'll get together with the coach and just look through the race and see where they went wrong. I think when you win the qualifying by 3 seconds, you sort of feel you're unbeatable, whereas a tactical race would have suited her much, much better. She would have known that Heidi Bucher was quick over the last 100 metres, but she could have broken away from the Austrian on the big climb. That would have been the sensible thing to do. But to achieve that, she had to not be leading into the base of the climb. She needed to just pace herself, try and conserve some energy for the final stages of the race. They're young athletes. They've of course watched many a World Cup, and they will have been watching, I'm sure, the action in Falun over this weekend. Lynn Svan was brilliant with her tactics. I was trying to think the last time I heard the Austrian national anthem at a cross-country event, and I didn't come up with an answer.
Så får med alle. De fotograferer det ved ons. Det snør på linser.
Maybe not one for the record books there. I think the snow and the moisture and cameras don't really go together. A similar start time tomorrow. You will be able to follow the qualifying run of the under-23 sprint event online. They'll give you live timings just to see who goes through. That starts at 9 o'clock. Generally, in fact, without exception so far, the women have gone first. I think in years to come they will switch it round. Everything else has been equalised. But generally the women go first in the qualifying, then it will be the men's qualifying to determine the top 30, and then the knockout races starting at 11:30 UK time. Norway have got used to being beaten by the Swedes in the women's events on the World Cup.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You need a people.
They need a little bit of pampering at this level. Not sure they need a sergeant major. Kimball there for USA. A race from him, although Murphy obviously disappointed not to have put a bigger challenge in the final. Yeah, it's like going back to school. They'll get used to this if they hit the big time and make regular World You do not see the Andersons and the Carlsons and the Clarebos having these sort of issues. They know exactly what to do when it comes to a podium presentation. But you've got to start somewhere, and Eddie Pedersen of Sweden has started in style. 2:46.55 is winning time in the junior sprint event. Murphy Kimball, 6th place for USA. Skogstad 5th, Goetze there of Switzerland in 4th. Federico Pozzi, is he going to be the new Italian star? He's not particularly happy with 3rd place either. They've got some ambition, these youngsters. Leopold Strand of Norway, silver medal, did well considering he was down in 27th position in the qualifying event. But Eddie Pedersen, he got it absolutely right. And his fans have come across the border. It's not so far to Sweden from Lillehammer. 10th in qualifying, conservative time by his standards, and he was some 3.5-4 seconds down on Finn Redmond of Canada, who dramatically dropped out in the semi-finals. That was a big surprise today. Had plenty of fallers as well in the final. Skogstad going down. I think Skogstad would have fancied his chances. He was considerably faster than Pedersen in training, but there he is wearing bib number 30. Most of these guys just in the 19s or early 20s, and here we go with the Swedish anthem for Eddie Pedersen, today's champion. Well, he's gone up the rankings significantly since last year's Junior World Championships, where he finished in 10th position. Eddie Pedersen is the Junior World Champion for 2026. And he took the silver at the Junior National Championships in last year. So he's got his sights set on the big time, and he's a big character as well. It'll be a lot of fun on the World Cup Tour if he makes it next year. Next year, maybe 2028, before we see anything like the best that he can produce. But exciting times for Sweden, and maybe this is going to be the change that they need. And a change in their fortunes, and a little swing towards Sweden, away from the Norwegians, who've been so dominant in the men's events over recent years, or I could say recent decades really. Another clean sweep for Norway yesterday in the World Cup in Falun in the men's events. But Eddie Pedersen, has he got it in him to challenge the might of Hagen and Vika, who are the youngsters in the Norwegian team? Lars Hagen, the Junior World Champion in 2024. Philip Skari of Norway won the junior title last year. Well, that wraps it up for today. Thanks for your company. We will see you tomorrow for the Under-23 Junior World Championship sprint event, again in the freestyle technique. We'll see you then.